What is up, YouTube? Jonas Restores here with the first official restore video that we're going to be doing here. We are going to be taking a look at making a UV box that allows you to de-yellow old consoles, any ABS plastic, any plastic that has turned yellow over time. So it takes like 20, 30 years for it to happen. And recently, I think it was about 10 years ago, somebody found out that using peroxide with UV light can actually reverse the yellowing in the plastic. There is some debate whether or not it causes corrosion in the plastic, making it weaker over time. But as far as I've read online, it doesn't actually cause irreparable damage to plastic, but it's yet to be seen. A lot of old consoles you'd pick up at garage sales or thrift shops or even your own would tend to look very old and very dated because of it. So for this video, what I want to do is I want to build the UV box that I mentioned, this here, because I'm going to be using it in future projects as well. I have the NES that we're going to be taking a look at here. I have a Super Nintendo that I want to do. I think I have a Dreamcast that could use it, controllers, and so forth. One note on the stuff that you're going to need for this project: you are going to need a plastic tub. You're going to need hydrogen peroxide. I have the regular 3%, which has been fun to get during a pandemic. UV lights, I have aluminum foil, and just regular soap and water after that. Probably in it for about $30 American, about $40 Canadian in total. And you can reuse a lot of it with exception of the peroxide. Peroxide only holds about 4 days outside of the brown bottles. So let's get into it. So I've got this tub here. I've had this tub for a long time. It's pretty good size and I'm hoping it's going to work. You're looking for a tub similar to this that's transparent plastic. I'm just going to take everything out of it and then we should be able to go. All right, so I've got everything out of the tub. One of the things you want to check is to make sure that your stuff will fit in the tub. This actually seems like it's a pretty decent size for at least this. One of the future videos that I'm going to do is the Super Nintendo that I have here. We're going to do a full repair on this one. And it looks like we might be okay on this. What I'm going to do essentially is wrap this whole thing in the UV lights. Put the UV lights on the bottom of here. And then that's going to be our tub that we can use to clean up the plastic. Do I have any tape? Just lying around. What we want to do with this is place these down here, this way. We're going to essentially just kind of take this, wrap it around. Hopefully what I bought is long enough. I think, like any good Canadian boy, I'm going to go with hockey tape. Because why not, right? I actually really like using hockey tape because it's really easy to work with. That's like the worst cut job ever, like right there. So the plan here is to put the UV light behind this, and they'll go through it. Ideally, and maybe for like a second build, if I need another one of these, I probably would use aluminum tape or like something along those lines. It would just work a little bit cleaner and would reflect more of the light back. All right, so we're going to take this, and you're going to want to put the UV side facing inward, like so. Grab the first piece. And I'm hoping that I don't actually need to cut and solder anything on this. But if we do have to, we do have to. Just kind of continue all the way around. This is where you kind of want to make sure that when you're doing the lights, you are kind of getting full coverage. Now this one's going to need extra little bit there because of the corner. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do the top and bottom on this yet, but ideally we finish on the top, if that makes sense. If we go boop and then boop. Hockey tape? What are you doing to me? You want to avoid this aka Jonas being dumb. Always make sure that it's facing inward when you tape. Okay, you can see on the inside kind of what that looks like now. So I just realized that I made a mistake on this. I got to put the aluminum foil underneath. So unfortunately, we've got to rip this up. I'm hoping that I don't have to waste this double-sided tape. Just like that. Like that. Comes over. Hopefully this works. I was wondering why you weren't sticking. So this is where we're at right now with it. I have this much kind of dangling over. That's fine. Almost drop the whole thing and put the lid on and be relatively happy. So now the next step and the last step is to just take this Canadian made and wrap the remainder and the bottom here as well. Bottom I'm just going to fold like it's a Christmas present. Just a couple pieces on the bottom here. The bottom does not need to look pretty. It just needs to hold its shape. And you can see now on the inside, that's what we're looking like. So this is essentially done, but I have made one mistake. I forgot that this thing needs to plug in. And now I need to remember, oh, you know what? It's right here. Look at that, dude. I didn't even plan it. Look, the plug-in's right here. Beautiful. I'm going to leave it like that. All right, let's plug it in and hopefully it actually turns on. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. That's exactly what you're looking for here. That's that. This is now done with one exception. And like that. Now I got a nice little arrow on there. So I know on this side is the side where we want to open from. That actually turned out really well. I'm really happy with how that turned out. So what we're going to do, this system right here. So this is a classic Nintendo, pretty standard. You'll be able to see a lot of the stuff that's going on. This one is actually one that I've had for a long time, but the reason for the video, focus, you can see that the top is pretty dirty. It's got some scuffs here. It's quite yellow. If you compare it to, say, this Dreamcast here, you can see that the color is quite, it's become quite yellowed over time. And like I mentioned before of what causes that, this is the end result of it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this one apart. All right, you can actually see inside here, it is quite dusty in here. It's probably worth looking at later. As a full restore, these little guys like right here, these little scratches, we're gonna try to clean them out. I also wanna clean inside of here. So we're gonna probably wanna give this a nice nice soak in a tub and see what we can do. Hello. Just washing my NES. So with all that done, all the prep work, this is now clean. I just gave it a quick rinse off camera, as well as I used a magic eraser to get rid of some of the scuff marks on there. This is looking like it is good to go. We are going to use our trusty UVBox that we just set up, and we're going to be using the hydrogen peroxide that I mentioned before, and pouring it in, turning this on, and leaving it for about 24 hours. The problem is that what's going to happen is this is going to float, and we don't want that too much. So you can see now we've got the entirety covered here in the hydrogen peroxide. The NES cover is not floating. So now, next step is to turn the UV light on. And now, basically, we're going to cover this up like so, and going to leave it for about 24 hours. And we'll come back tomorrow and see how clean it looks. It'll only be like a second for you, but it's going to be like 12 hours for me. See you later. Okay, so we're back after, truth be told, it's about 36 hours total in the actual bath. And we're going to take a look. We're going to see how things worked out. Right here, that looks pretty clean. Look, it matches the inside and the outside. And that looks pretty good too. You can see here, as I pointed out earlier, now these colors match. And put it back together. I will see you guys when it's all back. And there we go. That is the color restoration on our NES. I think it looks pretty good. Definitely a lot less yellow than it was before. If you look on the inside here, the inside color matches the outside now. And it's looking pretty fresh. Just a little residue left over from my workbench there. Nothing on that side. So yeah, we are done. There we go, and that's going to do it for our very first video on the channel. That is a de-yellowing tutorial for our NES. I think it looks significantly better. There's still some dust on the inside that I would like to deal with and do a full restore on it as well. But overall, it's looking a lot cleaner. It's less yellow. And the colors like this should last for about another 20 years, give or take. Tune in for the next video when we check out this Japanese Super Nintendo that I picked up for 1 cent on eBay. I don't know if it works. It's very, very yellowed. So the UVBox we just built, it's going to come in handy. I have some Japanese Famicom games that I'm looking forward to checking out to see if we can get this going. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you did like the video, if you learned a lot, click that subscribe button, click that like button, share on Facebook, share on Twitter and Instagram, and all that stuff. And you can find me at Twitter at Jonas Fatson, or you can find me on Facebook at Jonas Restores. Thanks so much. Peace out.